Vanessa Hudgens stars with Vanessa Hudgens and Vanessa Hudgens in the Netflix original movie The Princess Switch, Switched Again. So is this sequel worth checking out again and again? When Duchess Margaret unexpectedly inherits the throne, it's up to her double Stacy to save the day from lookalike party girl Fiona, who's out to foil their plans. Stacy married the prince in the first one, and Margaret was her double, who is now being coronated queen of Montenaro. Distant cousin Fiona, who's also a double, comes in to cause confusion and trouble. That's because she's trying to gain financially and also in status. So we have Stacy, Margaret, and Fiona, and they're all played by Vanessa Hudgens. I like how the filmmakers are able to put the characters side by side in this. In the first one, they had a little bit of spacing between them, and in this one, they get shoulder to shoulder, elbow to elbow, and they're both facing the camera. And I appreciate that because that does show they're stepping up the game a little bit. They're actually allowing Vanessa Hudgens and then her double, and then they switch the bodies and switch, however they do that, so, recut the scenes, whatever. But through that, it looks convincing. And I appreciate that because when you do something like this, sure, if you're on a very limited budget, then you have one facing one way, the other the back to them, they hug, they laugh, whatever, and the camera cuts back and forth. And that's how you can tell, okay, they're both in the same scene and it's being played by the same person, but they're not doing it very effectively. In this, though, it is more convincing because we do have, like I said, both characters facing forward, facing the camera, side by side, touching each other, up close enough where it's not just a simple, move of the camera and boom, we can hide stuff. So this is supposed to be a cute and funny romantic comedy, and for the majority of it, it is. But they add in some unnecessary complications to the story. So I'm going to see if I can describe this without giving away any spoilers. So there comes a point in this story where Stacy and Margaret have to switch places again. But since Stacy is already married to the prince, and he knows about them switching because that was the entire premise of the first movie, there is no reason to keep him in the dark of this switch in this movie. I don't get it. What would be the point of keeping Princey in the dark, even though he knows that they have switched before? But in this one, they do that exact thing. And all of that switching is there to set up something else. But even with that setup, that deception of the prince is completely unnecessary. They've injected some slapstick comedy into this sequel, and it's probably to hold or grab hold of the attention of the younger viewers. The bummer thing is that the slapstick, it's not executed too well. Luckily, that's a very tiny portion of the story, though, but it does involve two vapidly stupid characters. And I get why they're there. They're the henchmen. They're there for some comic relief, and they make you chuckle a little bit, but a lot of the time, what they're doing and even their comedy feels very forced. But like I said, maybe that entire thing is there just to entertain the younger viewers or to hold their interest or to keep them wanting to watch more. And I'm willing to overlook that for the most part. Romantic comedies are sweet and fun and typically predictable. And this one is predictable, but it's also cute and fun. I did enjoy the chemistry between Hudgens and her respective beaux, depending on the character that she was playing. They worked off each other really well. There was a genuine cuteness and just sweetness to the performances that's what you expect when you're watching a romantic comedy. You just want the characters to click. You want to feel some little bit of emotional connection. Even if it's wildly predictable, you don't really care as long as it's not just pandering to us or making us feel stupid, or even worse, treating us like we're stupid. And Vanessa Hudgens is also a lot of fun just when she's interacting with herself. She brings little quirks to each of the characters, and so those little nuances just make them more endearing. And it looks like she's really having a lot of fun while she's doing this because the energy coming from her is quite engaging. So you pretty much know what you're going to get when you sit down to watch this. It's a lighthearted watch, and at 96 minutes, it's pretty much in that sweet spot of that perfect timing for a romantic comedy. The pace doesn't drag, and if anything, it feels a little bit rushed. But I would certainly have it err on the side of feeling a little bit rushed than have it drag on. We're not doing life-changing exposition here, so it can feel a little bit rushed. We can gloss over some things. We can even overlook a lot of holes in this because it is just a cute little film. I'd say give this one a shot, especially if you were a fan of the first one. I don't think it has as much heart or it's as endearing as the first one was, but it still is some fun. There's no sex, nudity, or profanity, and there's a little bit of violence. I give The Princess Switch, Switched Again, 3 out of 5 couches. Do you have a favorite switch-up movie? I really enjoy the version of Freaky Friday with Jamie Lee Curtis, but I'd love to know what you like in the comments below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for catching with me.